Evening, everyone. Hello, how are you? I hope you had a lovely weekend. I missed you yesterday. There was a bit of a power cut and I couldn't reach you all. I hope you are well in your respective countries, areas, regions, continents. My name is Rumbidai Sopa, your host on the African Duchess show in Zimbabwe, from Zimbabwe in Southern Africa. I hope you all had a lovely day. Today we're joined by our lovely guest, Cindy Somatsokotere, who's a nutritionist from Zimbabwe, a fitness trainer, among his other skills. And today we're going to speak on relationships then and now, because you want to see, want to compare, we want to contrast what and how people used to do it back then and how they used to do it right now, because a relationship they form a very strong base in our lives. They form and bring so much to different unions, individuals. Relationships are important because one cannot survive on their own. So relationships, they are very, very important. So today we just had to contrast. We are going to contrast and compare as to how things used to be done back in the day. Okay, so feel free to put in your comments, feel free to add your questions, feel free to communicate with us through the comment section. I hope you're all well from the chat room, people in the chat room. This show is proudly brought to you by the Black Hot Fire Network. Thank you for tuning in. So, why do we always talk about relationships? Why do we always talk about relationships? You know what? One way or the other, you're going to fall in love whether you like it or not, because you don't plan to fall in love. It just happens. They say life is what happens when you're busy doing other things or when you're busy planning something else, and then it just hits you in the face, right? It's like lightning, just comes and go. Boom, you're in love. But well, how people used to date or get into relationships back in the day is different from us. When we're saying back in the day, we're talking our forefathers, our grandmothers, people from the 80s to the 90s, long back, long back, long back. And the way they used to do things is quite different. I'm sure you've had stories from your grandparents, you've had stories from your grandmas, from your great grandfathers and mothers on how they used to do this. Um, a friend of mine always calls love an animal. This animal on how they used to date, get into relationships, and maybe it has contributed as well as to the reason that there hasn't been many divorces amongst our parents, our grandparents, like now, and also just how strong the bonds have been over the years. You see, our grandparents, they're having gray hair. So with our grandmothers, our mothers, our fathers. But is it the same situation with us, the generation of the 90s, the generation of the 2000s? Is it was back in the 1800s, back in the 1900s? So, um, relationships right now, they are harder because conversations have become texting. Arguments have become phone calls. Feelings have become subliminal messages. Sex has become so easy. The word love is now being used out of context. Insecurities has become a way of thinking. Getting jealous has become a habit. Trust is now hard to come by, and being hurt has become so natural, so normal in the society, such an extent that leaving your partner or the relationship has become one of the only options or your exit. This is sad but true. So I advise you out there, I advise you, my guest, Cindy. So I advise everyone who's listening that if you have something that is worth it, don't take it for granted. Fight for it and don't let it go. In as much as we want to be hot headed, people aren't as easy to replace. Today, you can decide to move from your Mercedes Benz, from your Mac, maybe to your Range Rover or vice versa. That is not the same with people, because each individual in your life has a special reason why they are there. And until that has been done, you can't just decide to replace people. People are irreplaceable because we are here to serve different purposes in each and everyone's life. So, Cindy, so how are you? How are you? How are you in Harare? Cindy, so are you there?
Hi, Rudy.
How are you?
Hello.
How is it going in Harare?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. So, Cindy, so today we're talking about relationships then and now. It's quite an interesting topic. So, I hope I understand you have grandparents, you have parents, you know so many people, you've been around so many people of different ages. So, well, please do make this conversation quite profitable to the rest of the viewers. So, Cindy, so back in the day, this is something that is really interesting. I hadn't noticed this, but many scholars or many people are saying that back in the day, when it came to relationships, when it came to dating, men were more dominant in the relationship versus now, whereas the role in the relationship, the roles are now more equal. Have you observed this or not?
Sorry, I didn't quite get the question.
All right.
The
I was saying, back in the day,
yes.
it is said that men, like the males, they were
Mhm.
more dominant in the relationship. But now, roles in the relationship, they are now more equal.
Equal, yes. That is true. That is true with the equal rights movement, and you find that there's been a huge shift in the way things are being done now comparing to back then, and you find that women are starting to dominate in a lot of places, a lot of industries, a lot of um, a lot of roles actually that were normally dominated by men. So there is definitely a shift and a change in that area.
All right. Thank you for that, Cindy. So, all right. As well, in terms of communication, back in the day,
Hmm.
there were landlines. And even before landlines, there was another one. What is it called? Is it the telegram? What is it called? The one that what is that phone called?
I think it's the telegram.
All right, but you know the one
Yes,
that I'm talking about. If you've watched the '90s movies, it's it's in there. All
yes,
right,
the one that would
so
be by a typewriter or what do they call
exactly.
it? Yes.
So when it comes to communication, back in the day and now, what have you seen or how are now people communicating when it comes to either setting a date or when you're in a relationship? How do people communicate now versus then?
It's so funny because, you know, I have a friend of mine who is, well, they love writing letters, right?
Mm.
My friend was telling me how they found someone who equally enjoys letters as they do, and it's such an old. Now it's an old way of a letter,
Way
handwritten
of
letter. Then he was so excited about it being different from the way people communicate now. Now you find that someone can just send a text and they for them, it's like, okay, I sent you a message and that's enough. But for someone, the effort that you put in the letter, you actually have to make sure your handwriting is perfect. You make sure the words are right, and there's just something classic about receiving a letter as compared to receiving a text. Or maybe it's just me with the old soul. But I think there's so much that's changed in terms of communication. You find that back then you'd receive a phone call, and I remember we had the landlines where, if the phone rings and everyone is in the house, you'd go into the little corner and be like, hello. And if it's a boy, oh my goodness, either you won't be able to speak or everyone will keep quiet. You can't, go out of the house like you can do now with cell phones. Everyone would
mm.
hear what you're saying, or if someone picks up the receiver at the end in the house, they can hear your conversation. So it was different, and you find that now someone can actually go wherever and they'll be on the phone. People won't even know what they're saying. So things like that have definitely caused a shift even in the way relationships go. You find that now people, I can just text my I can just text a boy and say, let's meet there at this time, or let's have a video call or whatever. Back then you'd receive a letter and it would say we should meet at this place on this at this time, and you know that if you're late you know someone will be waiting for you, and they don't know, they won't be able to ask like, you won't be able to ask questions like, where are you now, or are you almost here? They just have to be patient and hope that you show up. So imagine the difference now, back then and now. Our grandparents enjoyed such relationships where you had to trust the person that if they said they'll be here at 8 a.m., I will wait for them at 8 a.m. and they'll show up. Now someone will be like, sorry, I'm running late. I'll be there in 20. I'll be there in, things have changed.
All right, I want us to speak as well on the issue to do with transportation, the mode of transport as well. I like something that you said that you just had to wait, you just had to trust that my person is coming, right? So
Hmm.
back in the day, people would travel, would walk, they would walk in this. You can imagine in the heat or in the cold weather, but they would walk miles and miles. They would walk so many kilometers. Some I know people who would walk actually 15 kilometers. Maybe that's less, but to me that's a lot walking, right? Just to make it to your date, or maybe you want to catch the next train that will take you to the city. And then when you're now at the city, you now have to you just to trust that your person will show up. But now,
Oh
would you
yeah.
walk 15 kilometers to go and see your loved one?
Oh wow. They have to be really special. Yeah,
You see?
to like there was a lot of investing that was done back then, I think, because I don't know if we have relatively older people listening in today. Maybe they could tell us how they did it or how it was done back then. But now you know that, as you said, that someone can be like, um, okay, I can't come there. Maybe it's easier to make excuses now because someone be like, I can't walk, or that I can't walk to, to the other end of of the town just to see someone. Someone will opt to video call because I mean it's just pressing a button from the comfort of your home, and you don't have to walk out or go anywhere. Literally, like I mean, us communicating right now, we don't have to go, we don't have to move from the comfort of our homes just to see someone, but you can just press a button. So I guess nowadays, if you give a young person that option to walk for like miles and miles to see someone, they'll probably laugh at you like, what? Why would I walk all the way instead of just press a button and see them or talk to them? So I guess, yeah, things have shifted a lot in terms of, even in, especially in the transportation and communication.
All right. Let me tell you something very interesting. Some time ago, when I was staying in the high density suburb, there was a guy who really, really liked me so much. he would walk he would walk from Fakos to Glenview on feet. That's like what I that's how many kilometers?
Sorry.
That's a lot of kilometers. Maybe so that my
I
it's
mean, really,
it's
really
close to.
liked you then.
Hey, he really liked me. And you know what? By the time he would come, I didn't know he was walking all that time. I didn't know. Okay, so, all right. Okay, let me say some of the days he would walk. I didn't know. So maybe he had like a tissue or a cloth in his shorts or in his satchel. So when he gets to his destination, He would tidy up his legs because they would be so dusty. And okay, you
Well,
know what?
I
I'm actually laughing right now, but it used to be very sweet. It used to be very, very sweet of him, you know, to the extent,
you should have your heart.
yeah, huh?
You should have won your heart because imagine that for just to see you. That was so sweet of him.
It was so sweet. And, you know, I was in high school. He was also in high school, but streams way ahead. And he would bring me fruits in his satchel. It was so sweet, you know. Him walking. And then imagine, after he had walked such a long distance, right?
Uh-huh.
I would also walk around as well with him because you know there was no way he was gonna come into my house, my parents' house, or sit by the gate. It was so impossible. So would walk again in the sun. You know, when I think of it,
Wow.
I let go of a good guy, you know. And then we would walk again in the sun. Ah, girl,
Sure.
things
That's
have
so
changed.
sweet of him.
Things things have changed. Right now I don't think I can walk in the sun for quite a long time like I did then. So imagine this is something that was happening in Harare, in an urban town. So imagine those people who grew up in the rural urban areas, the distances they would walk, even worse,
Mm.
you know, just to see someone, you know. I think that is why they've got so much strong foundation. Because when you think of the 20 kilometers you hit,
It's a huge, it's a really huge investment.
Hmm.
I know of a story of my grandparents, like
Hmm.
how they met. It's funny now to imagine something like that, but so apparently my granddad was from a different um okay, it's a different tribe. He's Shona, like pure Shona, and my
Hmm.
grandmother was pure Ndebele. So they they met at a function, right? And because of the communication, like the language barrier, they couldn't communicate. Like one could not understand Shona, the other one
Oh,
could
all
not
right.
understand. But then they had like a love at first sight, and so my granddad pursued my grandma. He was like, he told the people he had come with to the function that I want that girl. I want to marry that girl. Like, and my grandma, she was such a risk taker. This guy, I mean, imagine meeting a guy who speaks a totally different language. You don't understand each other. You actually need a translator to one another. But then she agreed, and they, I don't know how they ended up having 12 kids, but 12 kids
Wow.
later and many grandkids later. Hello. Like,
Hmm.
imagine that. Like, because they just had that connection. But now you find that if you don't understand someone's language, I mean, how much effort am I going to put into learning that language or communicating with them to a point where we end up starting a whole generation or generations. Like back then, I guess people really would get in, like they would get all into the relationship because of love. But now, just because I don't understand someone, I'll just be like, not, no, I can't do this, and then I'll walk away. Things that have changed now. Um, I like now
Hello?
will not be patient enough to let go, or to let a relationship flourish into something fruitful. Because I mean, there's so many options now. You go online and maybe you go on a dating site and there's like 50,000 people on that side. You see someone, maybe because you have a different um like you guys have different languages, then you're like, nah, skip, swipe. It's different now. But if if it was back then, you'd actually make time or make the effort to know someone, because you're like, okay, let me try this one out. And then it was more of a commitment you'd make, and then you'd pursue that. Now it's like, do I have the time to to invest in this? If not, I'll just swipe left, swipe. Is it left or right? I don't know. You just swipe. But this difference is actually very big now. the the game has changed, definitely.
The game has changed. It has changed. All right, let me just go through the comment section. Welcome to everyone who's tuning in on the African Duchess show. Today, the topic is on relationships then and now with our lovely guest, Sendisa Matsuko from Harare in Zimbabwe. Um, we have Spikes. Hello, Spikes. How are you? Much love to you, great African sisters. Thank you so much, Spikes, for tuning in. Lol, I wouldn't walk all that miles. Yeah, that is why you're from the 21st century. Because people back then, they would walk and then you should have married him. Oh, I'm guessing he's referring to that example that I gave. We were very young. It's so immature. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Pauline Marwahanyani, for joining us on the show. Please join in every day. Thank you. Relationships back then, they were more meaningful than now, where everything is just based on infatuation. A boy or girl would walk on foot for a long distance just to see their date. Yes, that is very true. That is what um our sister Cindy was saying, that the game has changed. Not in this day and age. People working, yo, hey, they won't do that. So yeah, that is very true. Um, everything is now just based on infatuation. You think you like someone, but well, you just want to waste their time. You just want to waste them. You don't want to to be committed to that person. So right now, yeah, that is very true. It's now just infatuation, or maybe you're just attracted to someone's body, and that's it. Once you're done, you move on to the next target. People aren't as serious, as honest, respectful, and loving like back in the day. And then, true, you can translate for the benefit of those who do not understand. That's from Pauline. Munhu anosvika ave neshena isingaoneki painogumira to such an extent of big nicknames. Chifumbura huruva. Cindy, so can you please translate that? Can you please translate that? Spikes
Oh
does not
wow.
understand this. Spikes from Kenya does not understand this. Please enlighten.
Okay, let's see if I can translate it. It means someone would arrive, and like the dust would be reaching even their. Oh, you can't even see where the dust is reaching because of the distance they've, like, if you're walking a long distance, obviously there's going to be a lot of dust on you. As you were saying with the boy who would walk all the way, sometimes would bring tissue or a towel to wipe himself because I mean he's he's been walking for miles and he's sweaty and stuff. So basically it's just explaining how much of an effort it is like for someone to walk that whole distance. They're tired, they're sweaty. Shame, man.
Hmm. Yeah.
such a such a a labor of love, really, to really work for your love. And it also reminds me of the stories even in about how who was it, Job, who worked for slaves. Like imagine, because all for love, working 7 years, and then you get the wrong one. Where the seven? Imagine, all for love. So then people would would really go all out for love. Imagine being told to work 7 years so that you can get the girl that you want to marry, the love of your
Hmm.
life.
All
Yeah,
right.
so it's an investment.
All right. All right. Okay, back to the comment section. All right. So, all that, the dust, the everything was all in the name of love. There was so much commitment, genuineness, and pure love, unlike today where everything is just done for fun. People bed for fun, people go on dates for fun, people are wasting each other's time for fun, you know? You can't play with someone's feelings, right? If you want to play, go buy your PlayStation, PS4, your FIFA, your Mortal Kombat, name it, and then you can play. But when it comes to feelings, please, that's a no-go area. You can't be doing that. It's not right. Men and women out there, it ain't right. It ain't right. It ain't right. Whether it was done back then, it is being, or mostly it's being done now, but it's not right. We want to shape a future for our children, for our sisters, for our brothers. And coming from the comment section, imagine this. You'd hear other boys saying, "She's my practicing ball." Sick man, whose daughter, honestly, are you calling a practicing ball? Guys, if you want to practice, go and play, go and buy your basketball, your molten ball, go on the court, practice hard, hustle hard. I don't know. Do anything you want with your ball, not with people's daughters, with people's sons. Don't do that. Then from spikes, things really have changed. All right, what is huruva? Huruva is dust. Spikes. Huruva is dust, 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 dust. All right, and then from G-Man, all right. All right, that's G-Man there. Welcome G-Man on the show. He's saying, bring a cold beer if they are sweaty and tired. I know that. I appreciate. All right. Cool. And then, yeah, from Pauline, there was much respect in relationships back then. People were prepared to wait for the right time. You know the saying, do not awaken love until it is ready? Well, now, oh, that doesn't exist anymore. People are firefighting just to be called Mrs. Muzo, Mrs. All right, just to be called Mrs. Kondo, Mrs. Newsome, Mrs. Soren Slow. You know what? People are firefighting love, and they're ending up with the wrong persons just because they don't want to wait for the right time. So yeah. Welcome to Mr. Pirate Brain. Welcome, Keith, on the show. I hope you are enjoying today's show with the African Duchess from Big Time Zopa and our lovely host, Cindy Somatsokotiere on the topic relationships back then and now. All right, so we talked on the modes of communication and the way people would travel just to see each other. People would walk for miles and miles just to see their loved ones. All right, Cindy, so I don't know if it's happening now because I've never been in a relationship where my friend is like, you know what, I'm going to hook you up with this guy. Not for me. It has never happened to me. But I understand back in the day, right? There were relationships like those whereby, let's say your aunt is like, you know what, I have my niece, my what, and also there were arranged marriages back in the day, and they quite worked. Those arranged marriages, they would work, they would work, but now, oh, hey, it's so impossible. You start firefighting. Hey, I have rights, I have this, I have that, I have that, and we let you be. You end up with John, Mishek, and whoever, and it doesn't work. In terms of how people would, all right, what's the word? All right, let me just use the word hook up, right? Back in the day as well, let's say your mom, Cindy, so right? Maybe you have your brother, right? Maybe your mom would approach my mother and be like, you know what? I think Rumbi would be a good fit for my brother Tinashe or for my brother Takuzwa. And then it would work out. But now, yo, it's not possible.
You can't imagine that happening.
you know? So what's your take on that?
Oh well, arranged relationships. So okay, I guess it was because people really knew one another back then, and by this I mean if, like, for example, I have a brother of mine, right? And I know my brother so well. I spend so much time with my brother, and then I know my and the type of person that she is, and I know that they would make a good match with my brother. I I would obviously insist on them meeting because I know that maybe because they have similarities, they'll make a good or they'll maybe like each other, right? That was the idea of arranging some of these relationships, right? But now, because sometimes now it's hard to arrange something like that because I feel like people have lost that connection to one another. Yes, I live with my brother 24, maybe, okay, not 24/7, but half the time I'm at home with my brothers, and right, but then doesn't necessarily mean that I know my brother because most of the time maybe I'm on my phone, he's on his phone, got his world on his phone. I don't know what he spends his time doing. Maybe he spends his time playing games, and I then want to introduce him to a friend of mine who loves reading books. Obviously, they're not going to click because one loves books, the other loves games. But because I don't really know them, I can't force them to come together, right? So
Mm.
now it's a bit hard to arrange this. I guess that process has now been taken over by computers and technology because now you just go on and type in all the things that you like, and then you create your profile, right? So your profile becomes your middleman. It then searches for somebody someone by just out, and then someone will be like, okay, I like these qualities, and then that's how people now hook up, as you had said. So uh, there's that now. I guess it's what all these dating sites are all about these days, as opposed to having someone say, I think you would really like my uncle, or you would make a good couple with my cousin, you know.
Mm-hmm. All right. Thank you for that, Cindy. So, all right. Then from Mr. Pirate Brain, I won't get married in the United States again. If I get married again, it will be an African woman. All right. Mm, an African woman on the continent. And I would never take her to the States. All right. All right. All right. Why? Why don't you take her to the States, huh? All right. And then from G Man, don't set high expectations and accept people for who they are. That way you're not disappointed. That's true. Assumptions and too much expectations will be your downfall. Arranged relationships from Pauline, that's from Pauline Maruva Hanyani. Arranged relationship where and are still a disaster. Yeah, that is true. I agree on that. And then similarities aren't always the best thing. Sometimes people need others who are different to strengthen their weaknesses. There needs to be a balance. That's from Jiman. And then from Pauline, online dating sucks because the profile often misrepresents who, that's from Jiman, who the person really is. Yeah, that is very true. And be careful some of those pictures you see on those dating apps. Those people, hey, when you see them in person, hey, you'll be surprised. And then people, then for Pauline, people should just be free to make their choices so that there won't be any pointing of fingers. That is very true. You need to make your good or your bad decisions on your own, right? So that you don't have anyone to be pointing fingers at. And then from Gman, meeting in person is always the best because you feel the energy of the other person. Many online profiles are written for people by professionals. And then from Keith, what if you find out that they have smelly feet? To you, people who like online dating, what if you find out they have smelly feet? Then what? Okay. All right. All right. All right. All right. Thank you for that. Okay, Cindy. So back to our interesting conversation. All right. So back in the day, people would go to a disco. Yeah, that's the right one. To a disco, to a dance, to the circus. So many activities that they would enjoy together. And also they would go to movies. They have vintage nice cars and they are borrowed cars from their relatives or in their taxi, coach cards, you name it. Some don't even walk, but they would go to the movies, to the whatnot. Sorry. Now, I don't even know when I last went for a movie. I miss going out on on a movie, guys, on a movie date. But now, Cindy, so my sister, people they now go to people's houses to watch Netflix or TV at the guy's place or the girl's place. Like really? What's going on?
Netflix and chill.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's the right word. Come and be Netflix and chill. Yeah, Netflix and chill.
That's become a norm now. It's been like now it's a lot of relationships are very casual like that. People are not looking for anything serious anymore because I feel like people now have um a very hazy I yeah idea when it comes to marriage and that has influenced relationships and marriage and the influence like of social media of even like the Hollywood life now, the rates of divorce, heartbreaks and all, like people have now started distancing themselves from anything serious because people feel like it doesn't last forever, so they have now resorted to having casual relationships like yeah just hit it off once and maybe if we meet again that's it, if we don't that's it. It's not that serious anymore. Back then when if people were in it they'll be in it and sometimes that way some people fortunately or unfortunately put an effort to make it work. And I read this statement once, I don't know, somewhere on the internet. It said, it spoke how back then, if relationships were a light bulb in the house, fix the light bulb. You don't need to do a whole house just because of that you don't then say, look, I want out, I can't, I don't want this anymore. You fix the problem that's that's there, right? uh, I believe there's always a solution to every problem, but unless if it's like terribly gone wrong. But I think 90% of the times you can it can be fixed. It can be fixed if both parties are equally invested. So yeah, in terms of relationship investment, I think that's the one thing that's the relationships now in the 21st century in the 80s and before that.
All right. Thank you for that, Cindy. So thank you for that. So let me just go through the comments again. All right. So meeting in person is from Jiman. Meeting in person is always the best because you feel the energy of the other person. Many online profiles are written by professionals. All right. So I read that. I read that. I read that. Okay. So there was a comment when I was asking, why will you not take her to the States? Let's say you marry your African woman, why won't take her to the States? And the response reads, the States poisons the women's minds with no fault divorce and feminism. All right. Then from Mr. Pirate Brain, when I get to Africa, if the wolf hasn't locked you down, I'll take you to the movies. Please do. Please do come and take me to the movies. All right, then from G-Man, home dates are cool if you cook and have a nice entertainment center. Maybe a partial candles, moonlight, with a nice view. Heck yeah, romantic. Man from Keith. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Black women are too damn delicious when you're young for only one. For only one. Not a lot of black women, one. Not just one woman. One woman for one man. Or on a beach with the moonlight reflecting off the water with the stars in the sky. Wow. You, Jiban, you're more of a Cindy person. Huh? Reflecting with the stars in the sky. Hmm. All right. Okay. 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 Cindy, so I hope your person is not watching this. Remember, what happens on the show stays on the show. This is our Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. All right. So, all right. Still on the comparison, relationships back in the day and now. Back in the day, the guy would pick up the girl and also they would pay the check. Now it's like Cindy. So
Yes.
um we meet let's say it let me say out all right. So Cindy, so we'll meet at Rainbow Towers at 8. So now we now meet at the venue because well maybe you're mobile or maybe the guy got you a taxi and whatnot, but well people are now meeting halfway, and when it comes to the bill you also halfway split the check. What is going on? What is going on? Since when do you guys meet up at the place? Well, unless of course you been in the relationship for like a very long time, you know. Maybe he became busy, he got busy with work or other commitments. I'm not saying it's wrong to meet up at the place, but I'm saying call the honeymoon phase, baby. So when you're in the 3 months, the honeymoon phase, you just have to impress no matter what. And you can't let the girl come at night or even during the afternoon by themselves. What if something happens to them? Huh? You need to protect them. You need to protect us. So, what happens to picking up the girl and paying the check? Do you not plan for these things? Do you not plan for this date? Yeah? Isn't you save up, then you plan for the date, what not, and what? Back in the day, when people really used to value agriculture so much, it means that week they would really sell the produce. They would really go all out, you know, get their $5, $3, $7, $10, and they would really work for that money. And then they would come, take you, Cindy. You both dress up, and then you go, and then he pays. He pays. But now, Cindy, so what's going on? You're now meeting halfway the check. When it comes to the check, you split the check, and and you now meet at the venue. What is going on?
Wow. In my opinion, in my opinion, you heard that part?
Haki doesn't like guys who do
I
that.
think
Don't even ask him. Don't go there.
I don't necessarily think it's their fault because because now now with the feminist movement, you find that guys, from this is my opinion. I feel like some of these um movements have now become so aggressive that a guy feels like, you know what, we're just the same. Yeah, if she's going to to demand, you know, um this, then she has to be able to at least foot half the bill as well, or she should make her own way. Because I feel like if there needs to be a balance, because things like chivalry can still be found, can still be, revived and the things that people I don't know, they're slowly dying. And man, I again, this is my opinion, and I I, I don't necessarily feel the feminist movement is doing any um justice cause because a lot of young men are growing up with the mentality that, you know what, I don't need to take care of a girl. Yeah, they can do it on their own. But sometimes there's some things that we need we need help with as girls. Like, I don't want to carry heavy things. Like, come on, if there's a guy there, I would love if he will offer to carry something heavy for me, not to just walk away and be like, yeah, 50-50, man. No. And someone to open for me, it's, it's I feel like it's still something so important. The new generation now has grown up in a world where there's constantly a fight for yes, for equal rights. Yes, I suppose it's good that people get paid equally, or people get treated free. But then some of these movements have become a bit too drastic, where yeah, women say we don't need men. Like, how that is not possible. We need each other. We have
That is
our
what that
strengths,
is
but
what Pirate Brain, Mr. Pirate Brain was saying, that with the issue of feminism, right? Um, it has also contributed to a lot of divorces in America right now.
the issue of
Where like the issue of feminism,
yes.
yeah. He was saying that is why he would not take his African woman to the States, because the States will poison the woman's mind with not default divorce and feminism.
Some of these movements are too extreme. Like, it's unreal. It's so unreal, and yeah, man, it's destroying a lot of marriages. So I don't know, man.
Don't know.
I
Don't know.
agree.
All right. Sydney, so when it came to officializing things like the relationship, back in the day, I've heard that um, people would exchange like a token of affection. It can be a pin, it can be clothing, or it can be a ring, but something had to be exchanged. Like the idea was getting pinned to that person. So then me, you now know that Rumbi and G-Man, we are now official because we've exchanged. It can be clothes, it can be a pin, it can be a ring, but there was like an exchange, you know. But now, right? Um, Couples, we tend to, all right, me and my person, right, we tend to see each other occasionally or talk for some time until one person or both parties is like, you know what, let's define the relationship, where are we going? And then maybe both parties would now say, you know what, let's do this, let's not do that, or let's be this, let's be that. Do you think, what's your take on that? What's your take on that? Because you see, you guys, you can be dating for like 3 months, or yeah, you want to start something, maybe 3 months, or you can date for 2 weeks or for a month, you name it. But you might not be official, Cindy. So you might not be official. These days, it now takes a long time to officialize things, right? If you guys don't want to be official, why are you wasting time? You're wasting time for the other dude. You're wasting time for the other girl. It's as simple as that. You're wasting time for the next person. We shouldn't waste time when it comes to these things, right? Tomorrow I can wake up gone, right? And then you're wasting my time. You see? But then wow, back in the day, people would just officialize. They would either give you like clothing or pin or a ring or something very small but quite sentimental. It was like a way of declaring their interest upon you. But well, now you start thinking that, hey, is she into me? Is he into me? And time is flying. Now with the and then you have pride, you can't ask the person now. Your ego, you can't let down your ego. You waste time. Then you know what's going on? What do you prefer, Cindy? So do you think back in the day it was better or it's better now?
Wow. Wow. Like you said, back in the day, people were. It was easier to commit than back then, I think, because you you'd be focused on your girl or on the one boy who promises to marry you, right? And this token that you're talking about was a form of engagement or a promise, right? That I'm definitely going to marry you, right? But you find
Hmm.
that now people aren't, especially I've realized noticed, especially in guys, like they're not very much in a rush to get married as compared to the girls, I suppose. um and for some reason I still feel like it's because of how with the with the way relationships have broken down or crumbled around us from from the time, maybe from the 90s up to now. Like it's 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 not scary anymore to hear that someone's getting divorced, or this person got married for like 2 years and that was it, and
These days we
they
have
got
people getting married for like 2 months, 2 months, 2 months, and then they
two
leave.
months Exactly. So you find that people don't see the need anymore. And for guys especially, I think there was a comment where someone said, um, people are people are actually not even married, but doesn't see the need to make that move because they're like, I mean, why buy the cow when I'm getting the milk already? Something like that. It's sad, but it's the reality of what's going on, especially in Africa. Because for me, growing up, it was such a sacred thing, getting married, and it's like you start a whole new life. All these things are going to be new experiences. That was the idea of marriage, right? But now you find that someone who is in high school is already experienced half the things that they're supposed to experience. So that excitement to get married isn't particularly there anymore. It's like, nah, I don't think I could fully to this person. Maybe if I get a little here, get a little there, get a little there, like that. That's a mentality that's going on. So sometimes you find that commitment issues has become a real thing because someone's like, I don't need to be committed to one person. I can just get what I want from around, and I'll be good. So that's where the fight is at the moment, especially in Zimbabwe. From my experience, I don't know. How have you have what's your experience with this?
Ah, Cindy, so like I always say, it's firefighting. It's firefighting, because like which brings me to the next point. Like back in the day,
Uh-huh.
inshora kunonzi kupfimba, eh, some say kunyenga, some say what's the other word? But you are telling someone that, you know what, I'm in love with you, or you're saying I want you to be my girlfriend, right? uh Back in the day, I think people were quite um they were quite clear and quite respectful when it comes to that. Now, it's either you guys, you get physical first, then someone declares their interest. You see, you get my point. When I'm saying physical, I'm not talking deep physical. I'm saying physical, like touch and all. Then someone now declares their interest, right? And slowly, seems like people are getting comfortable over this. You know, if someone wants you, right, or if someone, um, what happened to taking women out? What happened to that? Are you telling me that our generation can't afford a simple date? I once did a cost benefit analysis to someone who was saying, being in a relationship is expensive. I said, no, hold up, my guy. You can't tell me that being in a relationship is expensive. Because if I calculate, right, you're saying it's expensive, right? Let me calculate the things that you need to please your person, let's say in a month. In a month, it's not like you're going to go with your girl on a date on a daily basis. That's crazy. Unless you guys are workmates, maybe might need to share lunch here and there. No. You're taking her out maybe in a month, maybe to those really nice places, maybe twice, right? And especially now during this COVID, you can find your way around, right? So we are saying you're taking your person out on a date, let's say twice in a month. We're talking about the real dates, twice in a month. And I said, you know what? In a day, you're spending like what? um like 15 bucks on a day or less depending on your choice of places, right? And then when another time you guys could go to the game, you could go to Lion and Cheetah Park. There's so many things to do that um are quite affordable, right? But it's just that this generation of ours, yo, something else. Our brains are just fried. I could picture these brains of ours in the pan right now. It's too much. I don't know. Maybe I can't even explain it. It's so crazy, Cindy. So women aren't going on dates anymore. Take it from me. People, men aren't taking women on dates anymore. It's different. Back in the day, you would go on dates. And we're talking about really, really clean, smart, classy dates. Even back in the day, our parents, they were not so, when it came to releasing you, because they know, these are innocent. Eh, in Shona would say, Tungana kwembuzi, stuff like that, right? They were quite innocent dates and whatnot. Ah, now if you are late or if you don't come back home on a certain time, your parents, they will start ringing that phone because they know that these days, these dates of ours, they aren't as innocent anymore. I've said a lot of things, Cindy. So maybe if you want, you can try and add or maybe disagree with me. But well, people aren't going on dates anymore, baby. If you are going on dates, you're part of the few. Trust me, people aren't going on dates anymore. Men aren't declaring the interest like they used to back in the day. These days, now, you know what? People are now assuming. That is why people are getting so heartbroken. They're now assuming that, you know what? Baby's in love with me. Let me tell you, the moment you start assuming that someone is in love with you, they are not. You shouldn't assume, or you shouldn't ask yourself twice or thrice if someone is in love with you. When someone is in love with you, hey, you feel it. Even when you're miles away, you feel it wherever you are. Do not be fooled. You feel it. You feel it, right? But well, like I'm saying, it's a whole different generation. It's a whole different generation. It's a whole different world. And like with the issue of technology, the issue of modernization, people are now want to live the love they see on Netflix, the love they see on Showmax, name it. We are now missing the whole idea, the whole point of being in a relationship. That is why we had to come here and see, compare and contrast on the way people use on the relationships back then and now. All right, so I'm being corrected by Pauline. Oh, that issue I was saying on the gift, on the exchange is called a love token. All right, it's called a love token whereby you show commitment to your relationship. All right, and then hey. Cindy, listen to this one. This is from Mr. Pirate Brain. This is why you need to date older men. From all that I was saying, that is why you need to date older men. And then Zimbabwe, here I come. I'm the best dating men. Let me get my Nigerian accent ready. All right, do come. Yeah, I won't be able. That Nigerian accent, kid, it's very unique. Hey, you will not get it. Dream again. All right. So back to the topic of discussion. It's relationships back then and relationships now. So Cindy, so are you with us? Cindy, my love, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
All
here.
right. Brings me to something that I mentioned in the introductory of today's topic that we are now using the word love out of context. Back then and now. Anything to add on that? We are now using the word love out of context. It can be I love you, it can be what, but we are now using it out of context. I think it has lost its meaning because even you, I'm calling you my love. You see, that is just how much we are now using it. So yeah, it has lost.
It's so easy now to say it.
So easy, yeah. It's so easy now to say I love you. It's so easy, you know. We growing up, we used to be told that you just can't say those words, especially to women. Men, I hope you're listening. You can't just say I love you because women they take those things to heart. And I tell you, whether you say it out of whether you say it because you were drunk, you say it out of fun. The person was saying in the comment section, they were agreeing with me that if you want to do something for fun, get your Xbox, get your PS, and then you play a what is this game called? Grand Theft Auto, or you play your basketball, you name it. When it comes to matters of the heart, yo, don't play with those words, the I love you words. Don't go there. Women remember and they don't take those things to heart. So, Cindy, so what has happened? Why are now people just saying I love you as if they're saying hi?
Why are people what?
Why are we now just abusing the word love as if we are saying hi?
Oh, why are people abusing the word love now?
Yeah.
Is that because people used to know the power of this word, or you tell someone that you love them and I feel like advantage of this and now abuse this phrase or use it to you know to gain access to your heart because they know that if I tell this girl that I love her, she's going to do whatever I want, right? I
Hmm.
feel like uh, there are people who are now taking advantage of the way someone wants to hear those words. Like if they know how how vulnerable I am. I mean, if someone tells me that they love me, I mean, come on. It's going to make me feel like I'm on top of the world and I'm going to do anything I can to make this person happy. And unfortunately, it's not everyone who, as you're saying, who will say it out of like out of their truth or from the depth of their heart. Some people just say it so that they gain control over other people, which is really unfair. But truly, love is a beautiful thing. Love is so powerful. Love, when used the right way, and in the right place, and I love you in 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 the right context is just the perfect statement anyone can ever say to anyone. I feel like people should really mean what they say when they use those words. Don't just say it to gain access to someone's heart or mind, to control someone. Say it because you mean it, and that way it will have good repercussions for you, good results for you, because then it'll flourish, it'll grow, it'll do all sorts of things, man. Love is a beautiful thing. So I feel like people shouldn't abuse those words. If you say it in a text, don't just throw it in because you feel like, okay, I need a punchline or whatever. No, say it because you mean it. Say it because you mean it. That way it will not lose its meaning.
Thank you for those sentiments, Cindy. So, and thank you to everyone who tuned in on today's show. It was quite a lovely discussion. I enjoyed every bit of it, and it has made me realize on how things really used to be done back in the day and now. And there's been such a great, tremendous change in how people used to date back in the day and how things are now. So, let me just go through the comment section before I close down the show. White white chicken sandwich are expensive, Duchess. That is why you need to date older men. All right, all right. And then, hello, Stephanie Bosman. Wish you were with us from the beginning of the show. It was quite an exciting discussion. And then from Kit, Cindy, you're smart. You're too smart for your own good. Ha ha ha. No, she's too smart. This one. That is very true. All
Thanks,
right.
Queen.
So yeah, thank you all for tuning in today. We'll meet again tomorrow. I hope you all have a good night, have a good day, and be well in your respective countries. From the African Duchess, Rubiza Mzompa. See you tomorrow. You don't make me fall in love, fall in love, fall in love. Hey, hey. I will never my life, you're the love of my life, oh.